Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
So you're going to talk today about a Polish family of 7. They're going to be beatified
That's right.
for the good deeds. So can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, there was a husband and wife and 5 children. And a lovely family. I have pictures of them. They're going to be beatified. A husband and wife and the 5 children. They were staunch Catholics. So being like that, they had respect for life. And the Jewish people were persecuted and murdered by the Germans in concentration camps with gas chambers. So they sheltered either 8 or 10 Jewish people that was from the general area. This was, I think, in Poland. And they were from a farm, and a lovely couple, and well respected in the neighbourhood and all the rest of it. But unfortunately, like everything else, there's a Judas in every community that betrays the good that people do. And they were betrayed by a Judas in Poland, and the Germans informed, and they came. The 10 Jewish people that were sheltered there were murdered, as well as the family, by the Germans. So this is the tragedy that we don't sometimes hear about, the amount of innocent Catholics, thousands, priests. A third of the Polish priests was murdered by the Germans in the concentration camps, including St. Martin Kolbe. He was a priest, a very well-known priest, and had developed a great sight blessed to our Blessed Mother, nearly like Father Patrick Peyton. Mm-hmm. Father Martin Colby. When a prisoner escaped from one of these concentration camps, the German officer wanted to murder 10 people. And there was one that pleaded for his life, that he had a family, and Father Martin Colby stepped forward and said he'd take his place. And that man was saved and become a Catholic subsequently. So this is the background to the fact that these 7 people, it's marvellous that it come to light that they did such a good act for to save other people. Their lives were in grave danger. But they were betrayed by another Judas. Okay. In Poland, there's a Judas everywhere. When you're trying to do good, they'll trip you up. They'll try to trip you up. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that you have to watch. I have to watch it myself because of standing up for the faith. And you can be in trouble with church authorities because they've gone astray. In Poland at that time, they were very staunch, and that's what Pope John Paul II, he had to be a labourer and be a priest underground, trained to be a priest. He was a great man, and then he was made a bishop, an auxiliary bishop, but he rose through the ranks, and one of the best popes, because he knew what suffering was all about. He understood that. He was one of the few that had that experience. Yeah, so that's Poland, a marvellous country. I intend to visit that and see these places where these people come from, because there's great history there, what they had to stand up against between the Nazis or the Germans and then the communists. They really had a hard time, and Pope John Paul was the great liberator there. Like Daniel O'Connell. He should be going forward for beatification for what he did. Our bishops here and the people responsible for advancing these causes must be asleep, because he should be beatified, and so should Bishop, the famous Pimpernel, Vatican Father, Monsignor. You know, the man that's a statue in
Flaherty.
Aye, that's right. See, they just escaped me name when we're talking about other things. So I'm talking about people that do good. Monsignor Flaherty.
Oh, Flaherty, isn't it?
Oh, Flaherty saved, yeah. Great name, great Irish name. I'm Owen Waylone in Irish.
Wasn't he from Kerry?
Of course he is. Like Daniel O'Connell, so he was a great fought for he protected the Jews, and the Germans were trying to execute him, but they never got a chance. That's why the film was made about him at the Pimpernel, because he was in the
He
Vatican.
was able to escape.
He was able to do good, and he probably had support in the Vatican. But then there would be another Judas there somewhere too.
When I was a younger man, John Malone, I can tell you that I was known as the Scarlet Pimpernel in Dublin.
How was that?
Because they could never find me, the people looking for me. I used to vanish. I'd be off in libraries, I'd be studying on the internet, I wouldn't be answering calls. I could be studying or researching something for 12 hours and I'd disappear, and I was called the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Anyway, you couldn't have a better title, because that's in the Monsignor Hugh O'Flaherty. Statue now finally erected to him in Killarney, which I admired, and I noticed people were visiting it. And funny enough, people come and visit the cross up in the Phoenix Park. We saw that ourselves, remember, on the buses, and no facility there for them to dine or anything, a restaurant or something. So they want to start doing things for tourists and that, and stop acting the cod. Tourists are sometimes safe when they're walking around Dublin. Put a police around Dublin. I think I never saw a policeman on O'Connell Street for a long time.
Well, I can tell you that I done a video of O'Connell Street. Okay, I went in the morning at 7:30. The idea was to make a video of O'Connell Street on Christmas morning while everybody was in their beds. You see?
Yes.
So I went on a bicycle, cycled into the city, went around with my camera and my tripod. It's on YouTube. You can see a Christmas morning in Dublin City.
It's very good, I saw it.
Yeah. And the thing is, and then I went around feeding the homeless, so giving them what I could, because there was actually one shop open, okay, at the Spar in College Green.
I think I know it, yeah.
And I went around anyway, but there was quite a lot of people around. But for 3 hours, it took me 3 hours before I met a police officer. So I decided, okay, I'll have to go up to them to find out what's going on. Okay, so I said, "Hello, officers. How are you? Happy Christmas." He said, "Oh, happy Christmas to you." You know, I said, "I'm just wondering. I'm after spending 3 hours going around the city. You're the first police officers I've found on both north and south side of the city, but it's like taking me 3 hours to bump into you. Where are all the police officers?" Okay, and he said, "Well, they're down the station." So I said, "What are they doing down the station? Why aren't they out, you know, on patrol?" And he said to me, "Well, you'll have to ask the superintendent that."
Well, you see, this is the lack of authority. This is the situation. There's plenty of police in stations, and they're not out on the street. In Navan, I think there's 100 of them. And yet you don't see they're going around in squad cars. And funny enough, when my father was a policeman at Garda Síochána, the Irish, and they were on bicycles and they were out on duty in the town of Boyle, County Roscommon, and so everybody was safe. They were looking for bicycles, no lights on bicycles, that kind of thing. And dog licenses, visiting people with dog licenses.
I can tell you now.
Nobody had a dog licence.
Well, I can tell you now, in Dublin City, right, okay, they're knocking on every door looking for dog licenses. It's only €20 for the dog licence, right? But as I said to you before, there's a campaign by the present government, and it's linked with the Green Party, right, to get rid of dogs. Okay, the idea is that
this is to do with the environment.
Oh yeah, wait till you hear. The idea is that dogs, especially big dogs, right, eat too much meat. If they eat too much meat, it means that the meat's coming from a cow or some other animal. So they've got what's called a high carbon footprint. So what they're trying to do
this is what that crowd. There was only a few of them in the government a few years ago, and I got blue in the face. Listen, this carbon footprint. I just thought I'd like to fling them as far as I possibly could onto a boat going to China, a slow one, and take our time. And then I said to the captain, "I think they're good swimmers. Pig them out."
John Malone, that's not very Christian of you on Christian TV Ireland.
You see, it's just the fact of the matter is that they're trying to act as gods, and they're not gods. They're fallible, stupid people that think they can interfere with the livelihoods of people, and put expense on them and have an agenda that none of us support whatsoever.
Well, that's the agenda.
I'm long in the tooth, and thanks be to God, I didn't have the misfortune to have the like of them as I was growing up. I'd hate to be young, have to put up with their nonsense.
That's the agenda, basically. That pet
Yeah.
ownership will I would say within 10 years, there will be taxes on dogs. There'll be all kinds of things on dogs linked to climate change. They'll be saying everything about a dog is
Well,
bad.
they'll be gone. They won't. I don't think any of them will be elected again because people detest them, and they're interfering with farmers. They're interfering with all sorts of situations. And cars, they want electric cars, which we did a survey about that. There's more pollution from electric cars. The weight of them, you can't push them if they happen to break down.
Mm-hmm.
You can't push them. You'd want about 10 strong men to try and push the blinking thing with the weight of the batteries. So when they have to be replaced, look at the waste there.
Mm-hmm.
How did they get rid of them? But I don't think they think about these things. They have a short, I think they have a short memory or a short understanding of what's right. If they do what's right and what's just and proper for the good of society, they wouldn't be doing what they're planning to do. A dog is a man's best friend.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much, Oliver.